Okay. With 6, 7, and 8 of Wands coming up here. Fire energy that's coming in for you guys. It's uncertainty. It kind of just feels like you're thrown. You don't know what you're doing. And it's overwhelming energy. We have the 8 of Wands. This can be messages coming in, communication. It just feels overwhelming. Or you feel overwhelmed by it. And I feel like it's something you can't deny anymore. I'm saying that because we have the 2 of Swords in the past. But the 8 of Wands, yes, it's communication. It can be social media messages, just opportunities coming in. The energy picks up, right? Things are happening too fast. That's what the 8 of Wands is. Now, it might be that you're trying to figure out if there's some kind of communication going on. It might be that you're trying to figure out, can I trust this? What the hell's going on? Why is that person saying this to me? Why is this happening? It can be that because we have the 9 of Swords at the heart of your reading. And this is stress, anxiety, worry. But I'm telling you this, when the 8 of Wands comes up, it's direct communication. You can usually trust what's being said to you. Now, it may be that, you know, especially this is a work relation or a work situation for you that you don't know if you're good enough for it. Yes, I just said that to Aries. You don't know if you've got if you can do it. Will I get it? You know, is it worth going for this? Is this opportunity really for me? Sorry, hit the mic there. With the 8 of Wands coming up. And that's where the stress is coming in with the 9 of Swords, right? But it kind of feels like it's something that you kind of put off going for or doing. Now, it doesn't have to just be work. It can be a relationship. Like I said, you might be getting stressed out thinking, what do they mean by that? What do they, do they understand what I mean? It's that. Because the 9 of Swords says things are not as bad as they seem. You know, the fact that we keep going over and over and over it makes it seem bigger and worse than it is. I will say this to you though. I'm glad that at least you're considering it now. Because with the 2 of Swords, it kind of feels like maybe you weren't looking at this for a while. You were in denial, like, no, this is not happening. Or, this is when there can be conflict. For some of you, it's that, there's been conflict, maybe arguments with someone or inner conflict. Now new information's come to light and you don't know what to make of it. I'm going to say this to you guys, and I can't believe I have to say this to Aries, but 9 of Swords coming up at the heart of your reading, just speak it. I always say that with the 9 of Swords. Just say it. Get those thoughts out of your head. Like a lot of the times, just get in. You don't have to say it to the person. If this is conflict with someone, you don't want to go and share your deepest, darkest kind of vulnerabilities with them. I understand that. But speak to a friend, speak to an advisor, go speak to someone and say, this is what I'm worried about. And oftentimes just saying it out loud, you think, what the hell? Why am I even worried about this? I actually think it goes a lot better than you imagine it ever could. And that then throws you, honestly. So we have this kind of indecision here. We have a decision that maybe needed to be made or some kind of conflict, right? An argument or something. And you've been trying to protect yourself. That's why you've not wanting to deal with it. I understand that. And now you're starting to deal with it. And it's almost as if, see, I knew this would happen. I've gotten even more stressed out by this. I should have just stayed doing that. No, because we have the 6 of Wands coming up in your present. And this is recognition. This is success. This is victory. This is holding your head up high with pride. You've not done anything wrong here, Aries. So when we have the 6 of Wands coming up there with the 8 of Wands there, it's just say your thing. And you can say it proudly and say, well, this is my side of things. It might be that, this is someone telling you. This could be praise and recognition, like messages coming in of how wonderful you are. But like I said, there's this kind of feeling of that it throws you. It kind of throws you. I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm going to say it because it seems like it's part of the message. Somebody needs to hear this. When we get put on a pedestal, that's the kind of sense here. Someone's getting put on a pedestal. And we might be alone at night. This 9 of Swords energy, this one wake up at 3 a.m. We can't sleep. And it always feels like the rest of the world is kind of safe, cuddled up with their honeys. And we're the only ones that are by ourselves. That's how it always feels when we're in this energy. We're not sleeping and we're just stressed out. But it kind of feels like it goes better than you imagine in that for that pedestal person. Someone puts you up on a pedestal. But it's the kind of loneliest feeling in the world that you thought the acceptance of it or being seen for who you are, being seen for all the work that you put into something, it would make you feel good, but you've never felt lonelier. That's what I'm kind of getting from this. And you're trying to figure out, how does this kind of play in with what I want? What do I want out of this? Because I feel like you get praise. I feel like you get seen for what it is that you've done. Opportunities come in from this. But like I said, there's this kind of sense of being overwhelmed. And it's almost as if it's kind of swung too far the other way, right? The pendulum. At one point you were just totally stressed out about it and now it's gone too far the other way and it's like, whoa, hang on a second, this is too much. That's why you have the Hermit coming in, and it's okay to do this. The Hermit is about taking a step back. What do you want out of this? You know, a lot of this is about being in the limelight or being recognized by other people. You might have even like had to stand up for yourself and very proudly say, no, this is me. This is what I am. But is it? Is that who you are anymore? Because the Hermit's asking you to take a look inside. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? And that's what the Hermit's asking you to look at. And it is worth looking at. Because even if a new cycle's begin, even if you're going forward and you're being recognized and you have opportunities coming in, you might have that, right? Or even if you feel like you have to stand up for yourself, because we've got the Seven of Wands coming up here. It's asking you to look inwards, shine a light inwards. There's an answer to something and it lies within you. Why did you not want to make this decision? Why were you so stressed out about this? And it's worth getting those answers because it feels like they unlock something so when you go forward. Because we have the Seven of Wands coming up here as your advice. And I really feel like the Seven of Wands here it's like things coming at you from every angle, right? It's standing your ground. You're being told very solidly, stand your ground. You didn't stand your ground before because you didn't want to like rock the boat. You were trying to keep the status quo, keep it balanced. Don't want to get in this argument. Don't want to open that can of worms. That's that. And it's telling you, well, look, the worms are at the can now. Stand your ground. What do you want? What do you stand for? What are you trying to defend? And the answer lies within you. That's the Hermit. The Hermit may be when we have to take a step backwards, right? Take a step back and just have a relook at the whole thing. Because for the longest time, you were stuck in your head about this, either trying to deny it or just worrying about it. But with all this kind of Wands energy coming in, things have shifted, or they are shifting and changing this week. And there's this kind of recalibration kind of coming in, almost like doing an inventory of how do I feel now? What do I want now? Because the whole thing with when we're in the Nine of Swords, we're in our heads. We're in our head. We can't see anything outside of that. And it feels like there's something different that gets shown to you. And I do feel it's with opportunities. It is with opportunities. I kind of get the sense also with the Six of Wands. This is like you guys with your game face on. I mean, how do you go from the Two of Swords? I mean, I know that's the like last week, last month, last year, whatever. But how do you go from this to this? Like, she's like, don't want to see it. Don't want to deal with it. Leave me alone. I don't want to get hurt. And then he's like, hey, man, look at me. Look at what I achieved. Look at my victories. Look what I've done. And it kind of feels like that. You're having to put your game face on. But is it worth it for you? There's that kind of energy coming in. Because why were you saying, why did this happen then? And you might, say, well, you know what? This was just me worrying for nothing. It's fine. I dealt with it. It's all good now. I don't know though. Why would the Seven of Wands come up as your advice? I haven't pulled any clarifiers for anyone, but I want to pull one for Aries. Let's see what's going on. What's this kind of Hermit, Seven of Wands stuff that's coming up here? I swear, Aries, if this is going to be like me opening a can of worms now in your reading, let's see. Let's see. What have we got for Aries? Why is that there? It's internal conflict, guys. That's what it is. It is internal conflict. And it's the people around you. I mean, bloody hell. 5, 6, 7, 8 now. This is progression. You're moving through this. This is your creativity. This is a shift. And I think for your passions, what you're passionate about, if you're creating something, if you're a creative type or your work, it's that. You're creating something and you're moving forward. But it's kind of, it's a stop and start thing because you were really worried about something and it's going too good almost. It's too much of a good thing coming in almost. Now, this might be because you now have to deal with people that you didn't want to deal with. And you're thinking, well, what the hell's going on here? And this might be people that have your best intentions for you. Like, they love you. But they might be telling you, well, you should do this now and you should do that. And you're like, just back off. I just got out of this. I'm just enjoying this a little bit. Can I just see what I want out of this situation? And maybe that's why you're having to stand up and say, no, I'll do what I want to do. I know what I want out of this situation. Because it's telling you very strongly, like, stand your ground, Aries. Stand your ground. Know what it is that you want. The answer for that lies within you. But I think why would this come up? It's because to look at this. That's what comes. The focus is on the Nine of Swords. Why were you so stressed out? What's the internal conflict? And deal with that once and for all. Then it won't come up again, right? If you kind of deal with it once and for all, no matter where this goes. What were you worried about? All right. So we have back to what you love. Your current situation is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. And that is it. That is key here. That is what is coming up here. What do you stand for now? And that's why the Hermit's here. Take a moment if you need it, Aries. Just take a moment. Here, express love through gifts. Giving a small token to someone expresses your love to them. Don't know who that's for, but... And then we have new love. Embrace the new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work opportunities or spiritual growth. And yes, that's 8 of Wands. New opportunities coming in. They seem a little overwhelming, but you know, of course. This is like going, I'll give an example. It's like going from, say you're a musician, right? You make music. It's like going from, why am I doing this? My music sucks. You know, all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you've been given a record deal and you're like, what? Hang on a second. And you barely had like money to feed yourself. I mean, just an example, the readings on that. I'm trying to explain how the energies work. But, you know, and then all of a sudden they're like, can you fly out to, I don't know, whichever country and go do this, that and the other? And you're like, hang on a second, what? This is going too fast. I don't even know if I want this. And suddenly you've got people around you kind of planning stuff and you're like, no, hang on a second. I just want to make the music. Or, you know, that kind of energy. It's understanding, reevaluating why did I do this? What was the stress about? Because this feels like it's something that could come back to bite you in the butt. So take a moment to understand what that was. By the book. Yeah. Whose rules are you following? This is 5 of Wands energy. Aries, I can't believe I have to say this to you, but it is coming up. Like, you know, it's almost as if you're kind of struggling alone in whatever you've been doing, like getting through something. It doesn't even have to be work. Maybe you, whatever it is, like you've been suffering like sleeplessness, worry, stress, and all of this. Now suddenly you're getting your shit together, right? With all this kind of Wands energy coming up. And all of a sudden it's like everyone wants to have a say in what you're doing. And this is saying, are you going to follow the tribe? You're going to follow the tribe now? After everything that happened? Because by the book says, which book are you following? It's like the Hierophant. You know, tradition, our beliefs, where we're going with everything. Was this pressure somebody else was putting on you? Because by the book says you don't have to conform to something. Which book are you following? Sometimes it serves us to follow the rules, right? Not when you're getting the 7 of Wands. Not when you're the one that's done all the work. Not when you're the one that has the opportunities. So reevaluate this. The Hermit's a very spiritual card. This might be reevaluating your spirituality. Let's see what it says. Dearest you, there are times when loss is a part of life. Sometimes a loss is welcome, like when you leave a situation not in alignment with your highest good. Sometimes a loss is sudden and painful, like when a loved one crosses over to our dimension. Regardless of the nature of the loss and your control over it, your experience is asking to be acknowledged. Tears are necessary, as is grief. When you repress the natural expression of loss and try to move on too quickly, and that could be what this is, right? Where is it? Where did I go? When you repress the natural expression of loss and try to move on too quickly, the unprocessed pain haunts you in destructive ways. We don't want that for you. Instead, let your heart break open wide. Feel the loss and integrate it. See the beauty that was, the lessons learned, and know that as you let go of what has passed, ever more of you remains. It gets better, we promise. Your heart expands with more compassion for the world than ever before. Love heals all. We are loving you, sending you love always and forever. And, you know, that's why I kind of feel like there is this kind of pause that, yeah, things are shifting. Yeah, things are moving. Whatever this was, and it could be something totally different from whatever is represented by these wands. But it feels like you need a minute. Like, honor it. Honor your emotions. I always say that. Even the 5 of Cups, when that comes up. You know, it's very easy to say, turn around, 2 cups are still there. But you have to honor the emotions of loss, right? Before you can move on. And that's what it feels like you do here. But amazing other energy around this. And that sometimes makes it worse, you know. You know, if you're going through a grieving process and you're going through this, and then all of us, you know, you get to a place where you feel more stable, and then you go out into the world and everyone's kind of normal and happy and stuff. And somehow, you know, that kind of, it's kind of, makes your own grief stand out even more, because when you compare it to that, it's like, well, the darkness in you, and I don't think it's darkness, but, you know, just to use the example, against that light kind of energy, it feels darker, right? But if you honor it, there are some amazing opportunities coming in for you, Aries.